I just looked around my home and I don't own a single plant. A green thumb I do not have, and I kill everything that's potted in a plant and most of my relationships. But that's a different chat. This morning, though, we're going to talk to Barry Greene, who is known as Green Thumbs with a Z on Instagram and is the owner and lead plant stylist. I didn't even know a plant stylist was a thing, of Shades of Moss Plant and Design Studio. But when he's not green thumbing it up and styling plants, he is a leader in the conversation for affordable commercial real estate in the Charlotte area with his initiative, Mint City Connect. And you can find them on Instagram as well as at Mint City Connect. We are honored to have him with us today, and he's going to talk on our topic of procrastinate and what it's like to be really leading the movement for a hub for Black and minority owned businesses to thrive in our amazing city. So Barry Greene, Green Thumbs, please bless us with your thoughts on procrastinate.
Sure. Thank you again for having me. There are times where, one may be rewarded for procrastination. Maybe being indecisive on what's for dinner force you to settle for cookout again, but there's an extra fry in your bag. Or maybe you made last call at resident culture. You kicked the keg and that one's on the house. Or maybe you forgot to pre-order your latte at Not Just Coffee, and you avoided a major accident on 277. There are certainly times where waiting can be a good thing, but to find solutions for the Black-owned businesses and Black creatives that are fleeing the city in search of better support for their craft, we can no longer afford to wait. There are over 14,000 Black-owned businesses in the Charlotte area. But why doesn't it feel like it? In order to talk about that and give you those whys, I'd like to start exactly who I am and where I come from, and maybe this will make a little bit more sense. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, a city that was once known as the Harlem of the South. Jazz artists would flee to Richmond to perform, and Jackson Ward was the heart of Black commerce. I've known Black business all of my life, from Black barbers to gyms and those sort of things. So to dabble around in my 20s, go to New York City, and to still see those things be very, very not only profitable, but a thing that you can experience. And there was no idea too small. It's something that I was really passionate about bringing to Charlotte. So New York was where I enjoyed or discovered my love for plants. So moving to the Charlotte area, I wanted to continue doing those things, but things were a little bit different down here. I took a corporate job working in financing, which I'm sure a lot of Charlotteans are used to, working in the banking industry. But I finally had my chance in June of 2020 to open a business of my own, Shades of Moss. After building a platform in order to educate those on the plant world, I decided to leave corporate America and actually do something I had a passion for, which is houseplants, a way to connect with the community, a way to be a hands-on person in the community that you can always come to for advice. You can come just to hang out. It was really a safe space for Black Charlotteans to just kind of get their hands wet into plants, since there were a lot of places that they felt uncomfortable and had that ability to share with me. So retail space is very, very important. And as I was going through these directories after the death of George Floyd, it sort of kind of dawned on me that a lot of the Black owned businesses on those directories had no location. There was nowhere today that you can go and support them. And that already creates a barrier in the support factor. When you send people somewhere and they're frustrated because they're not at that location, or they make a call and that's the wrong information, having a physical location is so important. And East 7th Street was a moment for me to not only be a focal point in Elizabeth, but be able to connect with the neighborhood and the people around me. So to see people say, "Hey, I saw your sign and I popped in. I just wanted to see what you have, but I was not expecting this." Made me start to realize that if they felt that way about me, how could how could I make that happen for other Black businesses and creatives? But here's where things get a little bit tricky. Um, Affordable micro retail space or retail space in general is not a thing in Charlotte at the moment. And conversations just have to be had about it. There has to be conversations with developers. There has to be conversations with um, each other to figure out how we can maybe collaborate together in order to afford a space. But there's way too many hoops to jump through in order for Black owned businesses and creatives to get started. One thing that Mint City Connect is looking to do is educate those on exactly what this infrastructure would look like when you take on a retail space. A modified gross lease isn't necessarily the first thing that you want to necessarily read when you have a history of your ideas and concepts being taken for profit. But once you really understand that this is just business as usual, you tend to ease up a little bit. So that's something I'm hoping to do with Mint City Connect. I'm also hoping to give better ideas on things outside of pop-ups. Maybe that you can lease a particular space inside of a similar business structure, giving them the opportunity to think outside of the box, seeing how I can get a footprint, a physical footprint in the city, because that's very important. Um, for someone such as myself who was able to win Best Plant Shop in Charlotte, have that following and still not have the investor support kind of knocking at my door to say, "Hey, how can we take this to the next level?" A conversation with lenders is also something I'm looking to do with Mid City Connect, because that's very important. We want to know why. What do we need to do to make sure that we're getting the funding necessary to stay afloat? Currently, I am struggling to find small, affordable spaces in Charlotte. Um, and it's mainly because everything is being knocked down and being rebuilt. My first space, if you had the pleasure to experience it, was inside of just a 10 by 12 room, up some stairs, in an old house that was converted into 4 businesses. But people love the ambiance, the creaking of the stairs. They love the smell. They love how silent it was when you walked in there because of the solid foundation that was created in that space. And that's something that I'm looking to have other Black owned businesses and creatives appreciate and get to experience here in the Charlotte area. How important is Mint City Connect to me and making sure that Black creatives stay here in Charlotte and create? I'm getting married tomorrow. And my lovely, lovely wife to be is just allowing me to share this to ensure that our legacy is not something that happens in Charlotte, but stays in Charlotte, so that we can tell our story and ensure that our kids are able to experience the same. I actually also met my wife in Charlotte at the plant shop. So I posed the question, what are Black owned creatives and Black owned businesses missing out on without having their own space? Thank you.
Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations, Barry. That is, I mean, it's just the fact that you agreed to share your thoughts with us this morning, the day before you're getting married. I mean, we're really humbled. So, and Tim, I know you and I have talked about this too. I mean, first of all, you're such a gift to the city to be sharing your perspective with us. And we cannot procrastinate on these issues. That is so abundantly clear. And you've embodied the urgency of that message.
Yeah, Barry, I'm sorry. One of the little tricks of Creative Mornings is that sometimes we spend a year or more getting to know our speakers. We put a lot in, and we get in deep with them. And last month, in true form for Procrastinate, we did not have a speaker. And I saw your post on Mid-City Connect, your announcement that you were going to be part of the solution. And I just knew I had to get to know you. And after 3 minutes of talking, yours was the voice that I wanted to share and Matt wanted to share this morning because it's so urgent. The passion, I mean, thanks to you and to your fiance for giving us this time. I was a nervous wreck the day before my wedding, but this message and your future are powerful. And what you shared in your post struck me on so many levels. One, the need for affordable space. Two, the fact that it may be better for you to go somewhere else, but you're going to stick in there and be part of the solution in Charlotte. That is the chutzpah, that is the passion, that is the strength, that is the urgency that every single one of us need to feel to support our creatives. And the third is you are part of, I think, a wonderful new generation of creatives in Charlotte that don't wait. You know, we've said here before, don't wait, create. But having grown up in Charlotte and had a career here, you used to have to wait to have a title or a lot of money or some clout to feel like you could make a change. You and so many other creatives have moved to Charlotte and you're not content. You want to make change now. You want to give what you have now, and not just for you, for others. Barry, we need you in Charlotte. Not only your business, but your leadership and your message. The time is now. We cannot afford to be a place where creatives come here and start, but finish and grow somewhere else. Barry, you are amazing. What you've given us today is a gift, and thank you so much. I'm just proud to know you. You have inspired me and made me want to work harder for this city every day. Amazing.
Barry, we do have a couple of questions that were dropped into the chat, so I'll just toss those your way real quick. One is, what kind of jobs did you have when you were a teenager? And also, at what age was your interest in plants born? When did you realize that was a focus that you were passionate about?
Sure. In my early 20s, I was hired for a job at Lowe's. Unfortunately, it was the wrong position. They had already given it to someone else. So the only thing that they had left was a watering position in their garden center. And that's all I did all day was water plants. And at the time, it didn't really make sense why I was doing this particular task. But here we are 10 years later, and all of that knowledge is now paying off. So pairing that with just growing up around plants just really helped me launch my career confidently.
Well,
Hey,
here's
Matt,
another question.
Okay, go ahead. Tim. Well, a question I saw was an equally important question. This is from Ebony. An equally important question is, what is Charlotte missing out on by not having Black businesses in diverse spaces?
Sure. I think safe spaces is one. You know, a bulk of my clientele just didn't feel didn't know anything about plants and going anywhere else. You know, to see somebody that looked like them to come confidently and say, "Hey, I'm killing this plant. Can you help me?" without them feeling degraded or anything like that. Just being human is one thing, but then also just being able to have, you know, just different type of businesses. We all have different backgrounds and culture, but being able to put that into our businesses, allow each one of us to step into someone else's life and perspective. So you're really missing out on a different perspective by just not having enough Black-owned brick and mortar locations of a business.
I see another question here too, sort of related, but it is a different angle. What are Black-owned businesses missing out on without having their own space? You know, so entrepreneurs without their own space, is there something they're just missing out on?
Yeah, absolutely. They're missing out on the opportunity for press. I mean, that's a huge thing. I know I got covered a lot last year by just any publication, but they had the ability to just walk in on any day I was open and cover me. So you're missing out on media coverage. You're missing out on business connections. I would have, people of all walks of life and different backgrounds just being able to walk in there. Then also cash flow. That's the biggest thing. There's no cash flow like having your doors open every single day, having that visibility and opportunity to make money and not rely on another business's pop-up or workshop or anything like that. And that cash flow can be the difference between a business surviving and something like COVID.
Hey, Barry, JA asked, how has COVID affected commercial real estate in the Charlotte metro area, and does this present an opportunity?
Yes, so there are a lot of commercial real estate properties that I've viewed that have actually come down in price. Unfortunately, they're typically in areas that already had something working against them. Say, Ladder Arcade is an area right now that's really affected by COVID because there's not many people in Uptown. So those things are lower, but you're taking a higher risk by taking on that lower risk, lower rental rate, because it's an opportunity that we don't know when Uptown would actually open back up. So it's not a risk factor that you'd want to consider saying, okay, it's cheaper, I can take this risk, because it can actually put you in a deeper hole.
All right, I think we're going to end with this question from our very own Michelle Gabadia, which is second attorney. And it is, we're getting down to the actual craft here. What is a good plant for someone like Michelle, who has no plant experience and forgets to water them? Also, she hates bugs, so it'd be great if it was a bug repellent.
Absolutely. My favorite plant to recommend is a ZZ plant. It's just a very beautiful green plant that allows to be set up in any corner. It's a low light tolerant plant, so you don't have to have a lot of light. Doesn't need a lot of water. You're just watering it once a month. So it's a plant that I just recommend to anybody who's new to the green life.
I'm pretty sure that Michelle also wants some kind of a plant that repels the sponsor song. Just based on the last 2 months of criticism. But Barry, the most important question is, how can people work with you if they want to get in touch with you, if they want your services, if they want to house you? What can they do to be of service or to work?
Sure. So I'm no longer at 2422 North Tryon. We actually are going to go ahead and close that studio space. Again, overhead, that sort of thing, and going back into the community. So if you're looking for house calls, office plants, that sort of thing, you can reach me at Shades of Moss on Instagram or info@shadesofmoss.com. Obviously, you can also follow me personally at Green Thumbs if you have any personal questions about plants or just want to connect on a business level.
And you'll be doing pop-ups around Charlotte too, correct?
Correct. We're currently doing the Plant Pot and Hops workshop at NODA on April 27th. So that's an opportunity for a free beer and to learn how to pot some plants. And we'll be continuing that tradition throughout the summer at various breweries. And you'll also see pop-ups. So yes.
That's NODA Brewing is an amazing sponsor and proponent of the creative community. So ups to Susie and her team over there. That's great. Barry, thank you. You have brought forward beautifully and at personal expense today an issue that all of us need to be involved in. So you've done us justice and made us proud. And I'm so glad that we've met. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Barry Greene. We're so grateful. And many, many blessings to you and your bride-to-be tomorrow, the big day. So how special it is to spend some time with you today on the eve of your wedding. So many, many blessings to you. And thanks for all your leadership and everything you're doing here for the creative community and the entrepreneurial community here in Charlotte.